Eggs will be cheaper. Bread will be cheaper. Grocery shopping will no longer be an unsolvable equation.
$30 million, Steve and Natasha. That's how much Mamdani administration says it will cost just to build the grocery store itself.
Now, some will insist that city-owned businesses do not work, that government cannot keep up with corporations. My answer to them is simple. I look forward to the competition.
𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗧 in East Harlem to be the site of the first city-owned grocery store. The land that 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗧 sits on is already owned by the city and has for decades hosted an array of vendors. Mamdani says by waiving rent and real estate taxes, this store will be able to offer discounts on basic groceries.
Grocery prices have gone up, and they haven't come back down. Between 2013 and 2023, grocery prices increased in New York City by nearly 66%.
The first government-run grocery store in New York City is going to be right next to a Costco, one of the cheapest grocery store chains in America, which means they're only going to take business away from a tax-paying business in New York.
The plan is to then hire a third-party grocery operator to operate and staff the store. Mamdani's team says they hope to have the store open by the end of the year, but the city council will have to still approve this funding.
More importantly, when a grocery store notices that a customer wants a certain product, they stock it because they can profit from you. But in a city-run store, there is no profit motive. So if their paycheck doesn't depend on whether you find what you need, the shelves won't be stocked based on what you want, but based on what the government wants you to purchase.
Significantly higher than the national average. During our campaign, we promised New Yorkers that we would create a network of city-owned grocery stores, one in each borough. And we are here today to celebrate the site of the Manhattan store, 𝗪𝗪𝗧𝗧𝗧, which will be open by 2029.
And the $30 million price tag is just the start. The city is going to lose money on this every single year, and that money could have gone to people who actually need it. The truth is, New York and America don't need government grocery stores. We need to make life more affordable.
3 years and $30 million just to build out a grocery store. Average grocery store, decent-sized grocery store, like 15,000 square feet. Well, read about it. Is like 10 million. So we're gonna triple the cost. It's gonna take forever to build out. And remember, these are initial estimates. Does that 30 million climb to 40? I mean, who knows? The sky is the limit, right? Socialism works for those who don't. Let's get into it. Here we go. Reading from Breitbart. Zohran Mamdani, communist Islamist mayor of New York City, certainly living up to his communist label. The announcement, his grocery-owned store is going to cost $30 million and take 3 years to build. This store will open in 2029. When I first saw this, and I'm like, 2029? It's 2026 now. Not a little late? And why couldn't they just take over, existing grocery store space? Now, because the city probably doesn't own that land or those buildings, right? The one that they're going to start with, they already do. So, this whole notion of city run, to me, you're competing with tax-paying businesses, and you're rocking that whole economy. You're rocking that whole business picture. And at the end of the day, it's going to cost more to build this grocery store, and the groceries are not going to be cheaper, and you're going to have a massive amount of shoplifting go on because, hey, these are my groceries. My taxes pay for the city. This is city-owned. I can do what I want, right? Open in 2029. A 9,000 square foot store on a vacant lot. 9,000 square feet. It's not huge. That is not big. That's not a big grocery store. Reason that we're announcing it first is that unlike other stores, this will be built from the ground up. And you're just like, this is not going in the right direction. Already. It's going to take way too long. I mean, that's absurd. This East Harlem store will cost an absurd $30 million. I mean, where are they even coming up with that number? Are they getting some all union bids, right? I mean, of course, right? Oh, yeah, we can do that for you. You betcha. Only a socialist would require $30 million in 3 years to build a freaking grocery store. And I am not alone in that thinking. That was my initial thought, too. I'm like, how big is this grocery store? It can't be massive, right? Because got to manage all that. And it's built next to a Costco. I mean, some of the most affordable groceries are at Costco, right? And buy in bulk, you bet. I almost fell back when I saw the $30 million number, Anthony Pena, president of the National Supermarket Association. Even a high-end gourmet store like Whole Foods in the middle of Manhattan wouldn't cost that much to build. Oh, this is special. This is that special socialist/communist grocery store. And those are more expensive to build because you have to take into consideration the comrades, right? You got the comrade factor in there. It's a known thing. If you're in a big blue city like I am, Seattle, and you've got comrades, literally, you've got a comrade for the mayor of Seattle. This is what we're doing. Now, here in Seattle, we are not doing any grocery stores like this. We're actually not doing much of anything other than scrambling around to try and cover up the fact that Seattle has become hideously dangerous and the multiple streets are just absolutely loaded up with whacked out nut jobs on drugs. And we need to cover that up. So what we're doing to cover that up is we're going to build 500 tiny homes and wedge all the homeless into those. Absolute insanity, because they're not going to want to go. Most of the folks that are out on the streets already have housing. They've got a place to go, but they don't want to go there because they like to do drugs. Not a housing problem, it's a drug problem. Affordability, grocery stores, even this story here. He's not building it in areas. He's not building any of these stores that I can tell in an area where there's actually a food desert. You've got tons of what they call bodegas in New York City, in Harlem. You've got within a half-mile radius of this store that's being proposed, multiple grocery stores already existing. So this whole notion of it's going to be affordable, we're going to do it for cheap, we're going to make New York more affordable. All it does is suck up more tax resources on a terrible idea that we've all seen the end result. And Venezuela is your answer. You get this book from the government. You can log in and have the grocery store indicate, I bought 3 bags of rice. Instead of just going in and buying stuff, right? Like you should be able to. 𝗥𝗘𝗠𝗜𝗨𝗠, who once owned a grocery store chain in New York, told the Post that $30 million is an awful lot to spend to build one supermarket. Now, that was kind of my thought, but I didn't really have a source of comparison there. And here you go. Typical 15,000 square foot store without elevators or escalators costs under $10 million to build. You throw in the mechanics of the elevator or escalator, those things are just expensive. They're just wildly expensive. And what Mamdani's offering is $30 million spend and 3-year build. East Harlem see a glorious grocery palace complete with massage therapy. No. When it comes to the products we'll be selling at the city-run grocery store, it'll be an essential basket of goods. An essential basket of goods. They'll be guaranteed a cheaper price and cheaper than what they're being sold at currently. Okay, so you are undercutting profit-driven businesses in the taxes that they generate. So, I mean, it's immediately just pull out a gun and shoot yourself in the foot and then just keep doing that and claim that things are getting more affordable. This is going to have to be, like we heard in one of those clips, this is going to have to be subsidized by the city because otherwise this isn't going to make a profit because clearly it's a nonprofit, but it's going to cost money to operate. It's going to cost money, taxpayers' money to operate. So does this make any sense whatsoever? No. And and like Mamdani said, it's the grand experiment. Well, why are we experimenting with something that hasn't worked in the past, that we know does not work? Because we're crazy and we're just going to keep going after those same ideas and expect a different result. the actual definition of insanity. So keep two things in mind. $30 million just to build the thing. My guess is at least half of that money will be used to pay graft, to pay off Mamdani supporters and the unions and the like. Yeah, it sounds about right. Got to grease the wheels, right? But that $30 million does not include the cost of running the store, purchasing the food, and operating at a loss. Those are operational costs, right? We are literally talking about just physically constructing this store. That's where we end. And how much money? I mean, what's it going to cost a year to run? Millions, right? Millions. So how does this make any sense? It doesn't. And that's why we're doing this podcast, right? It's sheer insanity. This will not work. Everybody knows it won't work 10 ways from Sunday, but this is just what we're going to do because it's the grand experiment. And Mamdani needs to be able to point to something and say, see, I did that. Second, what this will government store do to all those East Harlem grocers who require a profit to remain in business? Yeah, that's the big question. You are rocking the ecosystem, right? Mamdani's either going to bury them in bankruptcy or he'll have to subsidize them to keep them in business. Because all the existing grocery stores need to stay in business because you can't just have one city-run grocery store in each borough and think that that's going to be good for the city. You've got to still carry all the other grocery stores. Those need to remain in business because one per borough won't work. Like the numbers just aren't there. And so that's why you've got such a high density population in New York City and Manhattan. You're going to have more than one store. So this whole notion of this is going to be the greatest thing ever is just right from the get-go. It's absolute insanity. It's just, you're doing what? How much? Oh, that is so much money. So then on top of subsidizing the city-run grocery store, they're going to be tasked with subsidizing the other for-profit grocery stores because they can no longer compete with the city-run grocery store, undercutting the for-profits. Whole thing is just doing what? What's happening here? This makes no sense because this makes no sense. These schemes never work, and there is nothing about this plan that doesn't spell boondoggle. Oh, it's a good one. I can't wait to watch history repeat itself. New York City getting what it voted for. It's grand entertainment. The grand experiment. That's what we're doing. We're doing the grand experiment. We're gonna kid ourselves and pat ourselves on the back that, see, socialism does work. At what cost? And then that means it basically doesn't work because all that money you're spending, it's totally unnecessary, completely unnecessary. But hey, let's do the grand experiment and roll the dice, see what happens. Because when you roll those dice, it's not the city's money, it's taxpayers' money. So this should work out fine. I think it'll work out. I think it'll just, no. We're going to podcast on this for days because the end budget on this, I'm going to say $45 million. There's my prediction right there. $45 million to build this grocery store. You're going to have at least that in cost overruns, right? At least that. It's going to be wild. I will podcast every single step of this. Thanks so much for joining. Love to have you subscribe, do all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.